Lake Bodom murders. Espoo, Finland, summer of 1960. A case still unsolved to this day. Early summer, June. The kind of bright Nordic morning where the sky feels brand new. A quiet lake outside Helsinki, Lake Bodom. 4 teenagers pitch a small tent on the shore. 2 couples, a night of jokes, stories, and the soft hush of water against rocks. It should have been ordinary. It should have been forgettable. They fall asleep. The wind dies. The surface turns to glass and holds its breath. Somewhere between 4 and 6 in the morning, something steps out of the trees. Not a ghost story, not a campfire tale, a person, a real one. The tent doesn't open from the flap. It collapses, slashed from the outside, a blade, then a blunt impact, a storm of blows through thin canvas. No warning, no chance to run. Hours later, a carpenter walking the path near the shore notices the tent, torn and flattened. He goes closer. He freezes. 3 teenagers are dead. 1, barefoot, lies outside, alive but broken, his face smashed, his memory a shattered mirror. Police are called. Noon sun, crowds gather, too many boots, too many eyes. The scene, precious and fragile, gets trampled before it can speak. The names still echo in Finland. Maila Irmeli Björklund, 15. Anja Tuulikki Mäki, 15. Seppo Antero Boisman, 18. And the survivor, Niels Gustafsson, 18. An ordinary summer night, broken into pieces. Investigators recover odd details that won't sit still. The attacker struck from outside the canvas, cutting and beating through fabric. The murder weapons, never found. Some belongings vanish as if the killer wanted trophies or time. Motorcycle keys gone, while the bikes remain. Later, Gustafsson's shoes turn up half-hidden in brush, far from the tent, as if someone wore them after the blood was spilled. Theories breed like midges over the water. None land. Witness whispers travel the shoreline. Birdwatchers say they saw a tall blonde man walking away as the tent sagged at dawn. Another neighbor remembers a kiosk owner who hated campers. Violent, erratic, a figure locals already feared. But the trail is mud and footprints wash away. In the first crucial hours, the lake keeps its secrets. Days become decades. The tent, photographed in harsh daylight, turns into an icon of fear in a country that usually measures crimes in quiet voices. Bodom becomes a word you don't have to explain. Children grow up. The families do not move on. Summer after summer, the water warms, boats drift, and every June the newspapers print the same faces. An entire nation keeps looking at that torn canvas, trying to see the moment before it split. The Guardian. And then, 44 years later, something shifts. New forensics, old bloodstains revisited, arguments rebuilt. Police arrest the survivor, Niels Gustafsson. The theory, a fight that spiraled, injuries staged, evidence misplaced. It is the cruelest possibility, survival recast as guilt. In 2005, the trial fills the headlines. The courtroom is a bright room where an old knight is forced to speak. But the verdict does not give Finland its answer. Not guilty. The case returns to the lake, to the fog, to the silence between ripples. The state pays compensation for the long shadow of suspicion, and the file remains open to the wind. Listen. If you sit by the water in early June, you can still hear what the investigators wrote down like inventory. Attack from outside the tent, missing keys, weapons never recovered, scene contaminated. They're not just facts, they are holes. And through them, stories pour in. One story says the killer knew the shoreline. knew which path would keep his shoes clean, which stones wouldn't clatter. Another says the culprit was a stranger who came and went like a cold front. Another insists it was anger turned monstrous, a human thing, jealousy, humiliation, there in the dark, between people who trusted each other. None of these stories changes the same photographs, the same hours that went missing from memory. Details tighten the throat. The tent sliced by someone who refused to knock. Blows rained through cloth at sleeping forms. The lake was calm. The air was bright by mid-morning, and still, no one saw what mattered, not in time. Even the footprints turned argumentative, some pointing one way, some another, as if the ground itself refused to testify. It's tempting to add thunder to the story, to make it a gothic fable, but the terror of Bodom is that it doesn't need thunder. It needs only a thin wall of fabric and the knowledge that, while you were sleeping, the world outside decided you did not get to wake. There's a way the Finnish papers still write it every June. 3 teenagers murdered at Lake Bodom. 1 survivor left unconscious with broken bones and a concussed silence. Arrested decades later. Acquitted. Killer unknown. Each clause is a shoreline you can walk with your eyes. Each comma is a breath you have to take. Sometimes people ask, why keep telling it? Why open the tent again? Because this wasn't a ghost story. It was a night the world let happen. And because somewhere between 4 and 6 a.m. on the 5th of June 1960, summer itself was forced to swallow a scream and pretend to be just another morning. Imagine you're there. The day before, you swam, you laughed, your hair smelled like smoke. You tied the guy lines of the tent a little carelessly because nothing bad ever happens here. At 3:57 a.m., the lake is a black coin and the birds are just beginning. At 4:12, the first soft step presses moss flat. At 4:13, fabric whispers under a blade. By 4:14, your name has already become a headline that doesn't know it yet. And after, everything is procedure and failure and timelines that don't quite meet. After, there is a nation trying to fit a knife into a motive. There are books, documentaries, a feature film, and a museum of comments under every article, each sure they finally know, but the old photographs keep refusing to confess. The lake keeps doing what lakes do best, reflecting whatever stands over them. The guardian, stand at the shore, breathe. Listen to the easy summer noises, boats knocking at their moorings, a distant dog, reeds ticking in the wind. Then remember the tent. Remember that the worst things are not the ones that rattle the trees. They're the ones that slip a blade into quiet and count on sunlight to make it all look normal again. If you go there now, you won't find a plaque that explains anything. You won't meet a chorus who can sing the name of the killer. You'll meet June. You'll meet a waterline that never stops smoothing itself, and a country that still, in its careful way, keeps watch. And somewhere, not far from the path where the carpenter once walked, the shore holds an old breath, the kind you take when you wake and realize the canvas is caving in, the kind you never finish,